Live people ignore the strange and unusual. I myself am strange and unusual.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number dos of Mornings with Jessie. I don't know if I'm going to call it Mornings with Jessie or something else, but it's still Mornings with Jessie. Doing it in the morning, right? Yeah. So this morning, I want to share a quote with you, one of my favorite from Eleanor Roosevelt. Nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. Let that soak in a little bit. No matter what anybody says or tries to say to you, you are the one that allows them to mess with your mind. Somebody says something to you that you don't agree with, that's insensitive, or that's not speaking your truth. Remember, you know who you are. God knows who you are, and you are beautiful. So, let's start off the morning. Grab your cup of coffee. So now it's time for the segment, Say What?
A peeping goat is on the loose in Chatham Township, New Jersey. This is dated May 12th, 2023. Police in Chatham Township, New Jersey are seeking an unusual perpetrator seen peering into homes in the area. He is a peeping goat. The Chatham Township Police are actively searching for the peeping goat that has been seen throughout the township, police said on Facebook. The goat appears to be armed only with its horns as it peers into homes. Police are advising people not to take the law into their own hands by trying to apprehend him. They said it does not belong to the local Creekside Farms, but they know who the owner is. The goat has been seen wandering around the township, showing up at doors and looking into homes. Residents responding to the police notice about the peeping goat are bemused, with comments like, "Officially on the lam, huh? If the farm is not the owner, can't say I'd turn this kid in." And a Chatham goat, cheese. I hope a cop on the bleat, get it, locates him. and another resident posted this is a bad situation. One resident was curious about the ghost's name. It has to be Scapegoat. Another local was concerned about the goat's legal rights. Didn't you mean the alleged Peeping Goat? Okay, guys, I have a story for you. So, dogs are barking, people's mowing, life in the country, so please ignore the outside noises. I just got home from work and I'm tired. That's why I look like been run over, but anyway. I wanted to share a story about me and my sister growing up. So, we had this make-believe play called Mary and the Servant. And Jennifer was Mary, Miss High on a Pedestal Princess, and I was the servant. And I don't remember exactly everything we did to do it, but I had a tape recorder and I'd put a tape in it and we'd record these little episodes. And this was back in the 80s, this is high-tech entertainment here. So we'd record ourselves doing these little made-up skits that we just improv right off the top of our heads. What is that? I heard that car go down the road, but I swore I heard somebody coming up to my window. So anyway, we would get so tickled that we'd nearly pee on ourselves laughing. I mean, we just had a great time with it. Sometime after me and Kevin got married, I don't know exactly when, Kevin was cleaning out a bunch of stuff and he had a whole bag of my little cassette tapes. Some of them were homemade, mostly they were store-bought stuff, and he put them outside and the heat got to them and melted them. And yeah, I was really upset because I had at least one cassette tape in there of some of that Mary and the Servant us playing around, so it's gone to history. And Jennifer singing her little kindergarten song. She was so cute. You know that period is just that little dot, but it occupies a very special spot. So if you should see a period, my friend, then you know what sin has just come to an end. That was Jennifer's song, the replay, version. What would people call that nowadays? The cover version when you're pretending to sing someone else's song. So anyway, come point in time, Dad, Mom divorced. He married a woman named Donna. And we had a stepsister named Tanya. And the three of us were at Dad's house. And he wasn't living at the house he lives in now. So it was a pretty good while back. It was a different house. And Jennifer was like up on a table or something. She was like really above us, me and Tanya. And she had like put this robe on or dress on. And we were listening to the Cabbage Patch Kids record. Do y'all remember that? And I don't know, she was like, there's a villain song in it. And I don't know if she's singing that or what. But she's dancing around. She's like kicking her foot up, ding, kicking that foot up in there. You know what I mean? Like that. I can't even tell you, I'm in my car. She was kicking that foot straight up in the air. And I mean straight up in the air. So, if you're by the table, the foot's coming at you as she's kicking. And honey, I had my ears pierced, and them little round balls you get with a little back. That's what I had on. And honey, she kicked my ear, and I don't remember which one it was. But somehow or another, when her foot went up, her toes had gotten onto my ear. So when her foot come back, you know how people kick? It's like that. It's like really quick. So when she kicked, it jerked. It hit my ear, grabbed the earring, and yanked it out all at the same time. And when she yanked it, Blood started going everywhere. I was screaming. My ear. My ear. So, Donna come in there, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, Jennifer kicked me and just pulled my freaking ear out, and it's just blood. So, yeah. Donna made us quit playing after that. But, yeah, me and my sister have a lot of good memories, but doing that was one of them. And probably come up with some more to embarrass and humiliate my sister. I better be careful, for she could come up with much more to humiliate me, I'm sure. Anyhow, that's story time today. I hope you enjoyed that, guys.
And let's get into our morning card pull of the week. I'm going to read from this one again. Let's see what we can find. Let's get a good one. Go, big money. Not big money, but she sleeps with the stars. Get in there for you. The solitary witch has her freedom. And some nights when the air is soft and warm, the stars are bright, and the moon is dark, she steps out into what others call the darkness. She holds no torch and she lights no fire. The only warmth comes from the closeness of the far-away stars. She stares a while, then makes a little bed for herself and nestles into the earth and lets each star drench her with its light, its wisdom, and its promise. She sometimes asks a question and then sleeps, and the stars and the closeness she feels with them seem to bring her near to understanding what the answer could look like. No one asks her what she is doing or why she does these things. She is free. So she sleeps, starlight shaping her features, her skin bathed in the light of other solar systems, and she dreams the dream of one who knows the comfort of belonging not only to this world, but the worlds that lie beyond them. Here's your meaning. Connect with starlight. Sleep under the stars. The night has wisdom for you. Find your answers within the stars, the presence of the night goddess. I like that. That sounds really nice. So, I didn't know what this card was going to be when I shared the quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. So that's pretty wild. They kind of go hand in hand. No one can make you feel fear without your consent. No one asks her what she is doing or why she does these things. She is free. So enjoy your freedom and know that you are simply awesome, guys. So now we're going to get into spooky story time. So grab your cup of joe, turn down those lights, or turn up those lights if you need to get ready. And let's begin with our spooky story of the day.
Amid the forested mountains of northern Sweden in centuries past, the long winter nights were crowded with the restless, greeting dead. The living, isolated for months in villages hidden among the fir trees, stayed indoors for the most part. They knew the darkness did not belong to them. They knew that things could happen outside the safe circle of the hearth that were best not risked or even thought of. This was especially true in the bleak time around the winter solstice, as a Christmas tale relates. In her cottage on a hillside, a woman was awakened early one Christmas morning by church bells echoing in the air. When the peal ceased, she peered out the window. It was dark as it would be until almost noon at that time of year. But far below, she saw that the doors of the village church were thrown open, and its light was streaming out in welcome. Although she could not be sure of the hour, it was clear that Christmas service was about to begin. In some haste, the woman dressed, wrapped herself in her warmer shawl, and taking a lantern to light her way, set out down the hill for the church. None of her neighbors were in view, and nothing broke the enveloping silence except the occasional crackle of ice falling from tree branches and the crunching of the snow underfoot. As she neared the little church, however, she heard snatches of singing born in the air, and she walked faster, spurred by the thought of warmth and companionship. At the open church door, she set down her lantern and composed her thoughts to suit the joyful day. Within the nave were rows of hooded heads. Her neighbors had been more alert than she, it seemed. Intoning psalms at the head of the congregation was a priest robed not in the pristine white of this great festival, but in indeterminate gray. He looked up at the woman peering into the church and bent once more to the prayers, so that his face was hidden. She crept up the aisle between the rows of chanting worshippers, searching for a place to sit. Then help came. A gentle hand grasped her wrist and a soft voice spoke into her ear. "This way, dear one." Her rescuer guided her to the front of the church. The singers seated there shuffled sideways on their bench to make room, but such was their intentness on the hymn that not one looked up or greeted her. She sat down meekly, and her guide sat beside her. Having settled herself in the pew, the woman turned to thank her helper, but the words died on her lips. The person sitting beside her had thrown back her concealing hood. The woman recognized the face at once, although it was much changed. It was the face of her beloved sister, whom she herself had laid in her coffin that autumn, before the first snowfall. The sister laid a bony hand upon the woman's arm, the damaged face twisted in expression that might have been pleading. It was hard to tell, for the head was little more than gleaming bone, still adorned with pasty shreds of flesh. The lipless mouth stretched open to speak. A gust of odor, a sweet, necrotic scent, tinged the smell of earth, swept across the living visitor. No sound came from the mouth, but all around the woman eddied the most toneless chanting of the clustered congregation. She pulled her arm free from the bony clasp and began to inch across the bench. The figure gestured, and the woman found her voice. "You're all dead," she cried shoutfully. At once, as if a spell had been broken, the singing stopped, and a profound and listening silence settled upon the congregation. Heads turned toward her, hoods fell back. Shufflings and rustlings began in whispers without words. The woman felt a hand on her shoulder and jerked around. Behind her was a gleaming skeleton, and beside it another. All up and down the shadowy rows swayed the figures of the dead. Some, still partially clothed in flesh, she had recognized. They were people from the village, or had been not long ago. Here, a shoulder blade protruded from the rags of a dress. There, wisps of hair clung to whitened skull. Some of the figures were no more than bone, and these she could not recognize. Some, no doubt, dead lost, had faded into almost transparent shadows. The congregation began to move, drifting in blind and stumbling sort of way toward the living being among them. Hands cupped to ears or outstretched, filling the air. Her sister's voice sounded again close by. "They have heard you. Run before they find you, for they have you with them if they can. They hunger for fresh company." And the woman rose, trembling to her feet. She was as quiet as she could be, but each skull turned at once in her direction, and bony fingers pointed. She edged off the bench and stepped into the aisle, the ragged figures clutching at one another, twittering and clicking their teeth, stretching their faces, and gleaming grins began to close in. Stepping as lightly as she could, she hurried down the aisle, but they swarmed behind her, unerring, following the sounds of her footsteps. She ran, smelling the earth smell and the stench of death, and at her back she felt sharp prodding. A hand grasped her shoulder. She shook it off. Fingers clutched at her shawl as she gained the door, and she slipped from the fabric and leapt out in the cold night air. Behind her, a single howl issued from the church, and that was all. Gibbering with fear, she made for her priest's house to find him just awake and preparing for Christmas Mass. After she told her tale, the priest himself, holding his crucifix high before him, led her back to the church. The church was empty and peaceful. The shawl, or what little was left of it, lay near the door. It was torn and clawed almost beyond recognition.
So I hope you enjoyed that spooky story. Thanks for watching and sharing your morning with me once again. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how you like this new little stream I'm doing in the mornings. And leave it a like. Consider subscribing for more content. Don't forget, I also do paranormal and haunted videos, outside these for a while. So I'll see you on the next time. Have an awesome day. I love you guys. Bye bye.